Hello and welcome back to my channel, Meandrous Plays. We are back with our Folktale Cliffside playthrough. And last time we got this nice dam built up to be a good reservoir of water for us. We moved our water collection over here, so that when we're collecting water, it won't affect the water we need to be irrigating our crops. This water is separate from this one during a drought because this one will not overflow at all. So that's what we accomplished last time, and that allowed us to delete these other water pumps here. And I'm going to use that space to plant more food right away. Let's make sure that can reach. It can. We can delete that road even. Plant some more potatoes. And then between the additional water storage we have here, our ability to pump more freely without being worried about losing our irrigation and our reservoir, those things come together to allow us to expand our population. So that's what I'm going to do. I do want to unlock double lodges. They are cheaper. They are 2 stories high, and they hold twice the amount of beavers. So I'm going to delete a few of these decorations, like this one here. I'm going to delete that. Build a double lodge up there. I did that wrong though, because I do want the door over there. I'll connect the ladder here so that they can reach it. Now with that, they can get inside there, and we'll put that that shrub back. There we go. Just that one double lodge will increase our population by 6, which will be much welcome. I don't know if I want to expand it again right at this moment. That could be another 6, might be a bit much. But this is probably where I'm going to put the next one when it's time. Okay, now they just need to build those ladders, and we will have some new kits being born, which will help us accomplish a lot more things. Our gravity batteries are charging. Excellent. One thing we were trying to work towards last time too was to get treated planks going, and that would be so we could have the large water pump. So let's go ahead and look at what we need. We do not currently have the science for the wood workshop, but that is okay. Let's bump one of these up a little bit. It still didn't take one. Interesting. Well, that's one of the reasons we're going to want more workers. I do think at this point we do need a third one over here. We are completely full on water again, so we can save the labor and pause that. Some of these pine trees, when they get all yellow like that, means the resin is ready. We have another job available. We're going to be short on haulers for a little bit till those 3 kits were born already. So until they start to grow up and join the workforce, we're going to be a little short on workers for a bit. But in the long run, I think we should be okay. We're stockpiled up to 80 planks now. I am going to pause the lumber mill just because we are kind of stretched thin on the workforce at the moment. I'm not building a whole lot either. So let's take away some of those builders. That'll help get more beavers into the hauling posts and these inventor huts. We only have 2 of the inventor huts going right now. That'll be enough for now. Oh, I don't really need 5 haulers either. Let's just bump it down to 4. And that should put another inventor hut spinning. Yep, there it goes. Okay. Pine resin, strangely enough, or at least I thought it was strange, is stored in a warehouse. Not in a tank. We don't need a whole bunch of pine resin, but we'll go ahead and build this right away to start storing some. Our wood workshop is going to be over here when the time comes. So we will also, when we have these signs to unlock that, we'll put a small warehouse close by for sap, pine resin, and have it at obtain. So this trapper will go over here to deposit the resin. I said trapper, it's a tapper. Another thing I want to get growing over here, since this is where we have the tapper shack, eventually we're going to want maple syrup. And maples take a long time to start producing syrup. So I'm going to plant some maple trees. And I don't want to mark them for cutting. And we'll just call that good for now. Maple syrup is used for two main things. The first being, at this bakery, you can turn wheat flour and maple syrup into maple pastries for another food variety to increase your well-being. And then later on, when you have bots, it is used to make catalyst, which boosts how fast your bots move and work. The bots have two potential bonuses, punch cards and catalyst, and those are basically the two well-being bonuses they can get, and it makes them much faster and much faster move speed and faster work speed. So that is useful as well. We will want lots of maple syrup for the food and for the bots. So both our organic beavers and our mechanical beavers will be using that. Wonderful. We only have 3 open beds right now, so our population is filling in. Out of curiosity, let's check to see if we have any Justins left. And we do. We honestly have more Justins left than I thought. We still have 3 of them walking around. This one's 61, 64, 57. So unless we bump the well-being up to 17 to extend their life expectancy, don't expect the Justins will be around a whole lot longer. One thing we can actually do to help with that, we can unlock this beaver statue, which increases aesthetics. The reason we hadn't is it's pretty expensive to build. 50 logs and 10 planks. We can spare that now. I just don't want to spare the science at the moment, because we finally have the 800 science and can put down that wood workshop. Excellent. Since we won't need a whole lot of treated planks, I'm only going to put down a small pile for those. There we go. Our water is staying topped off just fine. Okay, here now we're going to have a problem because this top level of this water is going bye-bye. Now we have no other place to draw water from, but we only have 5 days left in our drought, so that should be okay. I'm hoping to get this wood workshop up and running and get that large water pump put in here by the end of this drought. That would be excellent, because that does only require 10 of the treated planks. That shouldn't be too painful to build. Whoa, we have a new situation. We have an unemployed beaver. We went from not having enough beavers to fill the jobs to having not enough jobs to keep the beavers busy. It's a kind of a welcome problem to have there, because we can just increase the number of haulers and have something for them to do. We could also, probably should, in fact, toss this other lumber mill. All right, it is nighttime again. Our batteries are nearly fully charged. We haven't run out, so everything's been full power since we've had this set up, and our wood workshop is going. Up here, there's our first treated plank. Where are they trying to be used for? I think it just disappeared while it was moving. 2. Excellent. How much research does this require? 400, so we don't have that, which is unfortunate. But we can have it soon. Won't take too terribly long. Especially once we got those 10, we'll pause this again just to get another beaver, hopefully in the inventor huts. As we're building more industry buildings, we got to be mindful to make sure we have enough medical beds for any injured beavers. We haven't ever gone above 1 injured beaver at any given time, and we have 2 beds, so that's not a problem. This small tank, we don't really need it anymore. I'd rather have more potatoes there. Potatoes. All right. Getting to the point where we're actually full on grilled potatoes. So they're not making any more grilled potatoes and using up the raw ones. Well, they are still using up the raw ones, barely. I think once all of this comes online, we're probably going to actually need potato storage for the first time in this playthrough. Let's see, we got 2 days left of the drought. And we got 10 planks, 10 treated planks, and we're out of pine resin. That's how many planks we wanted. We can pause that bad boy and get, hopefully, another beaver over here. Please? There we go. Excellent. Maple trees are somewhere, they're right below oaks for efficiency on wood. They take 28 days to grow for 6 logs. And then after that 28 days, when they're fully grown, they take another 12 to produce 3 maple syrup. And every 12 days after they're harvested, they're going to keep producing that 3 maple syrup. Let's see. You know what? Pretty soon here, as we get more and more of this going, just more possibilities really just open up. Eventually, this is down the way. This is down the road quite a ways, but there is a way to cap off these bad water sources so that they don't produce bad water anymore. And the Folktails option for that, this bad water rig, then makes it into a workplace where instead of bad water flowing, beavers can extract bad water directly from there without it flowing anywhere. That's important because that bad water is used for dynamite. That's going to be quite a ways down the line here because, as you can see, it requires 4,000 science, 400 gears, 200 treated planks, and 150 metal blocks. That is way out of our budget at the moment, but it'll be there before we know it. More within our budget, at some point here, not too long, I think it'll be time to build a bad water pump to start collecting that bad water and making it into dynamite so that we can start doing some terraforming. That dynamite lets us blow up these terrain blocks and just reshape the map as we see fit. One of the first uses for that, if we destroy these blocks here, we've just easily expanded our reservoir. Drought is over, thankfully. We did not run out of water. And we do have enough science for that large water pump. So let's get that going right there. I really like how that turned out. I don't like how it doesn't go all the way down because there's a path there. Well, that path was down there. Down there was really just to just help build this dam, so we can actually get rid of that. Now we'll reach the bottom. So once we get that bad water rig up here, that will enable us to utilize this area of the river. Because there won't be bad water flowing there anymore, so there won't be contaminated ground. What I think I would like to use that for is the Folktails have these aquatic farmhouses that in water that is just one tile deep, they can plant a few aquatic crops. So since this already has this wide area that's one deep, I think that would be perfect for us to utilize for those crops. All we have to do to get the water to fill up this area is put 3 levees here. Four. Once those 4 levees are right there, the water will build up until it reaches that high, and then it'll overflow here. And once it passes that, it'll just go right on over. We are already getting a bad tide. We've only had 1 of these so far, surprisingly. Maybe 2. Regardless, we've had more droughts than bad tides. At our current system, we have not replaced our floodgates with sluices, even though we have sluices now. We should get that done here soon. But for now, it'll be just fine. We just got to remember to manually change over our floodgates to divert our bad water. Let's check how other things are going. Our population is steadily growing. Like to see it. Wood's being used. That's fine. With this thing going, it's pumping out so much more water than even 3 water pumps could. So I don't think we need these water pumps anymore. We didn't really use them for very long after we relocated. Let's unpause this water storage so we can get some good water stored up for this drought. What? I'm going to look and remind myself what the large tanks require. Large tanks require just some additional metal blocks. A lot of gears and a lot of planks, but all of that's accessible. I think after we get a few more gears stored up here, I think we might unlock large tanks. Just like the medium tanks were a huge upgrade compared to the small tanks, the large tanks are another huge upgrade. They only take up a 3x3 space, but they hold 4 times as much water as a medium tank. They hold 1,200 units of water, which is just so great compared to the other options. I say of water, but really this is of any liquid. Once we start harvesting this maple syrup, that is stored in tanks as well. So if we plop down a big one of these, boom, it can hold 1,200 maple syrup. Gravity batteries are still keeping up. We got pine resin. Is there anything else we're gonna want to build with treated planks that I should be making some planks for? I think the next thing I kind of want is that observatory and that large water tank. Observatory. Where would we even put this? That's the question. Well, first, let's build a few platforms right here. I want to move this metal storage, although it's nice and close to the smelter. This won't be too far away either, pathing wise. And then we can keep just building on with this chain of powered buildings. And somewhere over here would be a good spot for our observatory to really get a jump start on the science production. We actually have more empty beds now. That just means we're waiting on some of these some more beavers to be born. A lot of them died of old age at the same time. And let's go ahead and empty this large pile. And they're gonna move all of it over here. Another reason as folktales, you really want to avoid building a lot of housing back to back to back. That'll lead to a lot of beavers being born around the same time, which then translates to them being dying of old age around the same time. So all of a sudden, you're doing good. All of your jobs that you need are filled, and then you have 6 beavers all die of old age at the exact same time. And now you have a labor shortage because now that there's free spots, now you'll have more kits born, but they'll take a little while to grow up. So you're going to have a death wave if you build too many houses right at the same time. It leaves you open to death waves and labor shortages. It's not a good thing, and it can be avoided pretty easy by just spacing out when you build your houses. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try as much as we can to avoid having big death waves. I'd really like this to be emptied, but we don't have enough haulers to make it quick. How much science did that number cruncher take? It take not number cruncher. Number cruncher is the Iron Teeth building. We have the observatory. And this requires 1,000 science. So it'll be a little while, but we got time. There's no rush. No rush. We don't need that path there. But we could, because why not have another maple tree there? All right, it's getting to the point that we might need potato storage soon. And I'm okay with that. If we need it, we need it. And it can go right there. We're going to store the raw potatoes, because once they are cooked, they are worth 4 units of food, but those 4 units of food take up 4 times as much space. So you actually have a lot more potential food by keeping them in their raw form. Say I mess up and forget to turn this over and this whole thing gets contaminated. All of our potatoes die. All of our crops die. Having a store pile of raw potatoes would be a bigger food source than the same warehouse full of cooked potatoes. All right, we're 0.1 days until the bad tide. So I'm just going to switch over the floodgates now so I don't forget. And so any of that flooding is just good water. Yes, we're throwing a little bit of good water away here, but it's better than having bad water where we want to keep our good water. So as far as I know, there's an equal chance of bad tides and droughts. And one benefit of the bad tides with this flowing is you could build your water wheels down this way. There's less total flow than during the temperate cycle because your good water has stopped and replaced with bad water up here, and you're bringing it off the map. But you could still generate power during a bad tide with water wheels. Or if you wanted to get really fancy, instead of diverting this right off the map, you could divert it to here and have all of that same water flow going, powering your water wheels. That would help during the bad tides, but not during the droughts, unless you are playing as Iron Teeth. I said the folktale building lets you turn this into a work location and get bad water directly from there. The Iron Teeth's equivalent is slightly different. It lets you force the bad water to flow even during a drought. So that's one of the ways Iron Teeth produce power late game, is they force the bad water to flow, and then they have water wheels going on the bad water all the time, and that source will never stop. All right, this is done. We don't need that there anymore. Collect those logs. Bad water diversion is still working perfectly. Glad to see it. We are not pumping out of this at all. So the only source of loss here is from evaporation. I'm tempted to unlock more well-being buildings and just so many little buildings, but I got to tell myself to wait for the observatory. Once we get the observatory, our science production will go through the roof and everything else will come so much quicker. At this point, it's just the play. We got all the materials we need for this. Yeah, we have every single one. We're just waiting on the science. Instead of unlocking other stuff and making that science wait longer, let's just tough it out and get that observatory. Now, unfortunately, that observatory will need to be manned by 4 beavers. But look, we got 4 beavers in inventor huts right now. I think we could move them over to the more efficient observatory. Was it genius planning or a happy accident that I have 4 inventor huts? Maybe a little both. I knew I needed 4 for the observatory, and it just so happened that in this out of the way spot I could fit 3 plus the one I initially built. So it worked out. We'll probably call it a happy accident. That's okay. I don't need to pretend to be smarter than I am, because that would be a lot of work. All right. And you guys would see through me pretty quickly. It's a pretty long bad tide. And just that fact reminds me, we can't neglect making this taller. That will have to happen. And while this water's not flowing, it's a good time to do that. So let's do that. Delete these paths first of all. Build 2 more ladders. And then we start building some levees. Okay. And we will have to delete these. Not the end of the world. So we're just going to replace them with levees again. And dams up there. I'll feel much better about that. That amount of water storage up here. For potentially longer droughts and bad tides. Especially now that we're growing our population. I think what really will help with that too is that we aren't using the same water pool to draw water from as we are counting on for irrigation. That definitely helps, but we are still losing that water to evaporation. I just want to be mindful of our population and make sure we have the resources to keep everyone alive, because I would really like it if my first playthrough on YouTube doesn't end in the colony dying due to poor planning. I don't think that'd be a great look. I think it'd be embarrassing. I realize stuff happens. I want to beat myself up too much for it. But let's avoid that if we can. And I truly think we can. We are, at this point, I feel pretty safe. But we haven't got the 20-day droughts yet, the 25-day droughts, and the what is eventually coming, the 30-day droughts. We are not there yet. So we have more planning to do for sure. and we'll have to make this whole area bigger. And that's fine. I'm not worried about that. We just can't neglect, as we can't get so sidetracked with all the other projects we want to get done that we don't also expand our water storage for our reservoir over here. Because having water stored in these tanks is great. It keeps the beavers hydrated. We need that. But we need water on the landscape to keep our crops and trees irrigated. So that's what this is mainly for. If this dries up, we can delete this levee for another way to pump water. Still got quite a bit of water down there, and we are completely full on storage, so that's no problem either. It's just kind of a matter of waiting at this point, because we are waiting, A, for the beavers to build this, and B, I'm going to put another worker in the district center for another builder, and B, we're waiting for the science to build the observatory. We have its location all set aside here, which is good, definitely. And that will be ready for us. I just want that science, and then we can start getting into some fun stuff, I think. Once we have faster science production, each unlock of these won't feel so back to the drawing board. We won't use up all of our research points, all of our science in one go. Or at very least, we'll get it back sooner. So that will enable us to get bridges to start building from the bottom down a lot more efficiently, and zip lines, which will revolutionize and shorten our travel times. The zip lines aren't as good as the tubeway stations that the Iron Teeth have. At least after they're built. The Iron Teeth have to build their transport system piece by piece, like these power shafts. The Folktails can just plant down a station, and say, connect these two, and then it's done. So it's easier to get it started as Folktails, but the tubeways are more flexible as Iron Teeth and actually faster too. So pros and cons to both. Tubeways are better all around, besides they are more difficult and resource intensive to set up, because each path of those tubeways requires a metal block. So as you're trying to get around the map, tile at a time, similar to these power shafts, a metal block each time. Later on, not a problem. Early on, a little hard to make a really efficient transportation system with that being a limiting factor. And look, we're going to have this built up well before this bad tide is over. And I don't think I want to go much higher, because we will have to go back into here then. I think the next step is going to be dynamite to expand that. The next way we expand this reservoir is going to be with the use of dynamite. Which reminds me, we want bad water sooner rather than later. It's so tempting to just unlock that bad water pump, but I want the observatory. It's the right call. Patience. Deep breaths and patience. Okay. We're so close to it too. We really are. We're getting a stockpile of potatoes. Hey, down to 2 empty beds. The beavers are growing up. It's just like we wanted. Yeah. Our power supply, our power system is perfectly capable of handling all the industry we have. We don't need to worry about upgrading that quite yet. And we have hit the 1,000. Let's pause that. Observatory, you are unlocked. Unlocked and locked in. Okay, that was an embarrassing thing to say. Let's just forget I said that. Moving on. Let's see. That we just gotta wait for that to build. Won't take too long. Yeah, and once a lot of this evaporated, our irrigation isn't reaching our maple trees all the way. I am seriously considering building instead of describing it, let's build it. That'll be easier to show. We're gonna build some levees and put down a little um, pond here. So, with that, I don't like that lumberjack there. He's gonna move. He's gonna go right there. You can have this walkway open. Platform, stairs. See, I didn't just rely on ladders. I can do stairs too for simple tasks. But with that, we're going to put in a fluid dump. And what this building does need to be manned, but it takes water out of your storage and dumps it somewhere. So we're going to dump it right here. And that will irrigate this section. That way we don't have to worry about these not being irrigated and the growing slowing down. It also gives us the option to plant more trees over this way. Also good. Is the observatory done? It is. Now with that done, I feel safe deleting these inventors. I'm going to leave one, just probably don't need to, but I'll leave it at the lowest priority. So if we run out of jobs, they have something to do. The other jobs that they can do if we run out of jobs is just go straight to the hauling post as well. Multiple things. This is just creating science so much faster. It's not even funny how much better that is. We already have enough science for this fluid dump. Let's get it. Let's put it here. I'm actually going to build one more platform. And if we wanted to be sneaky about it, we could build more platforms here and put our forester up there so that this other space could be planted with trees. And we might do that. I'm not hurting for wood right at this exact moment. Actually, it's going down pretty quick. But it's going down so quick because we were building. Let's put that fluid dump right there. Needs to be connected by a path. Perfect. That will take one beaver of labor. But then this will be full of water. And this will be irrigated. The rates of evaporation in this game are not simply total surface area. There's a formula with how many tiles are also adjacent to that tile. I don't know the exact math. I just trust others' math. And everyone says that a 3x3 pond is the most efficient to minimize evaporation. So I have a 3x3 pond here. I don't know the exact math. I just know it has to deal with how many tiles of water are adjacent to any given tile. And it's all because of evaporation, why this is best. So we got a fair amount of space here. Now, granted, a lot of that potential space is being wasted on these large piles. But we do need that storage too. We need to store it somewhere, and we need to store it somewhat near the trees to be efficient. So there's not a whole lot of other options there. I do think we're going to we're going to build another lumberjack flag. Were these oaks not marked for cutting? Aha. They were not. Nor were these. Well, that was just an oversight on my part. I'm sure some of you people who play this game and are watching me were yelling at your monitor when I planted those that I never marked them for cutting and wondering if I would forget. And if you were betting on it, I did forget. Until the time I saw all those trees all grown up and no beavers harvesting them. But we figured out why now. It's fixed. It's done. It's over with. Mistakes happen, and we just need to learn to live with them, and we can't. We pumped all of that water out there. Interesting. Let's pause that. There's no water there, so we don't need 3 beavers in there. Let them do other jobs. Look how much science we already have again. I think it's time for that beaver statue. Where are you, beaver statue? There you are. What's nice about this one is it has more range. So if I say put it right here, actually, I can't get all of my buildings. Let's try just right here. And then we'll just need another one back maybe right there. So that's a lot of logs, but we just chopped down a whole bunch of oaks, so I think we can spare that. We still have almost 1,000 water in storage. It's all the drought's essential. The bad tide's essentially over. If it got any longer, I could delete this in order to allow water to flow there to be pumped. We're gonna let some of that bad water flow through. I think that's probably enough. Let out the water and block that one. The nice thing about once we replace this with sluices, it'll be automatic, and sluices also can automatically close above or below contamination. That's what allows it to be automatic when the bad water comes. And we also can know for sure that this isn't like 5% contaminated, that it's all been flushed out before we release any water. Another way we could be sure of that is if we unlock these stream gauges. All they do is measure the water depth, flow, and bad water contamination, but that can be useful information. But they give us all of that information, besides, I guess, the flow rate, just by having a sluice. So I don't find them very necessary. They don't enable more options for automation. They just give you more information. And 2/3 of that information you can get elsewhere or something that is useful. So I don't see the reason really to spend the science and the materials to build them, unless you're really curious. It does add some aesthetics to it, not an aesthetics bonus, like the beaver statues, the glorious beaver statues we have built. They're working on that one, but it has its purpose. Truly does. Now that we have this, and this is permanently going to be irrigated, and we know we're going to need more trees. It's a fact. Let's just make it happen. Make the trees happen. Make sure the forester can reach all of that. And it can. Wonderful. Wonder why these two aren't planted. I don't know. Not my problem. Well, it kind of is, but fixed now. Forester will be very busy planting all of those oaks. But I'm okay with having the beavers being busy. Let's see. God, I'm so happy with that observatory giving us so much science. Now, why did it flood all of a sudden? It's because I moved it up to 3 times speed and the water physics get a little wonky. So let's slow it down again just to let this flooding resolve. We want that pumping again. We want a bad water pump as well. And for that bad water pump, we need it to be able to reach the bad water. Just like that will work. Okay, not quite like that, because we don't need this that road. And just because I definitely want to store up some bad water to be able to start making explosives, we are going to build a medium tank for it. But we can't right there because the windmills. All right. Like I said, we're going to build a small tank for it. Couple of them right near it. And we'll have a medium tank closer to our explosive factory. Yeah, that's what I meant to do all along. See? Wonderful. We can already set that to bad water. Bad water. Not sure exactly where our explosive factory is going yet. Somewhere over here. I think it's a safe bet that that will be nearby. In fact, I do know where we're going to put the explosive factory. It's going right here. It's just gotta. Just makes too much sense. Explosive factory is under landscaping, the same place you have your levees and such. It's right here. Let's unlock that. Boom. Now they have a way to get there. And it's still going to be connected to power through all of these other power buildings. I do think we probably should have ended it at the end of that drought. The end of that bad tide, sorry. I don't want these to drag on too long. Again, if you guys don't mind the long videos, let me know. I can play this game for hours, but I know you don't want to sit here and watch for hours all the time. So breaking it up, I think only makes sense. Just let me know what your preference on video length is. Obviously there'll be different opinions. I can't make everybody happy, but I can try. Look forward to hearing your guys' suggestions again, and until next time.